The firefight persists at an apartment building in East Hollywood. Additional firefighters can now be observed on the roof battling the blaze in East Hollywood vicinity, situated near New Hampshire and Sunset. This is a sizable two-story apartment complex, and it appears that the entire building is unoccupied. The windows and doors have all been boarded up, and a substantial section of the property, spanning both the first and second floors, is engulfed in flames. This incident commenced approximately 45 minutes ago, just before 6 a.m., when the Los Angeles City Fire Department received a call regarding smoke and flames emanating from the roof. The origins of the fire remain unclear. As of now, there have been no reports of injuries. It appears that firefighters are inside the structure, actively combating the fire from within. Additionally, a group of about 10 to 15 firefighters can be seen on the roof, working to contain the blaze after creating ventilation openings earlier. It's worth noting that this courageous team of firefighters is working adeptly from both the top of the building and within the two-story apartment complex. This particular location is situated right across the street from Children's Hospital, which serves as a notable landmark. It seems that the fire will likely be confined to this two-story structure. Children's Hospital can be seen in the upper part of the screen for those familiar with East Hollywood area. Once again, there have been no reported injuries, and the firefight continues in earnest as the Los Angeles City Fire Department strives to contain the blaze this morning. This doll is designed to exhibit autonomous crying and crawling actions, but it shouldn't be capable of contorting itself into unnaturally bone-breaking positions during these movements.
It's legs, and they're like the same foot legs. Oh man, that's bad.
The plastic doll intended for crying continues to display unsettling limb dislocation. When a bewildered family captures this perplexing occurrence on camera, some viewers speculate that this particular phenomenon could be an early indicator of malevolent spirits. Personally, I'm intrigued to learn whether this YouTuber encountered any additional bizarre events subsequent to this incident. If you possess more insights regarding this video, or if this represents a reoccurring issue with this type of doll, I would greatly appreciate your input. While taking her dog for a nighttime walk, a woman records her furry companion's behavior. The dog becomes curious about something in the grass, prompting the woman to inquire, "What are you doing?" Suddenly, the dog quickly scampers away, and a clown begins to advance towards the woman. In a state of alarm, she starts to flee before the video suddenly cuts off.
Come on, Mikey. Come on, baby. Listen, where are you going? You're getting... Oh my god! Oh my god!
We encounter a pair of individuals who have come across a black bear venturing into an area where it's not typically welcomed. Spotting these bears in such places is generally not a favorable sight.
There he is. He's up on the trail.
Oh, look at that.
He's up on the trail.
Look at that.
This way? You're looking at us? He's gonna go the other way.
And that lady's...
However, the situation takes a terrifying turn when an unwitting man inadvertently crosses paths with the black bear.
Buddy!
Whoa!
This man is so engrossed in his thoughts that he remains oblivious to the bear's presence until the individuals recording the scene urgently shout to capture his attention. It's at this moment that you can observe the man's expression change into one of fear.
That guy had no clue he was coming.
Nevertheless, the man chooses to stand his ground, as fleeing from bears doesn't typically convey a message of strength to them. The bear, on the other hand, appears disinterested in the man and continues its foraging.
No, he's
gonna get me out.
The clip concludes at this point, although it's reasonable to assume that the man made it through the encounter unscathed. Subway passengers occasionally create issues, not just thieves and pests. In this particular incident, an elderly gentleman visited his local Subway store to purchase a pack of cookies, only to become quite agitated over the pricing discrepancy. The advertised price indicated $5 for a pack of 12 cookies, yet in reality, it amounted to $5.50 plus an additional 45 cents in tax. When the cashier attempted to clarify this, the elderly man grew increasingly frustrated, pointing at the sign and insisting that the price was incorrect, which, to be fair, it was, but the difference was only 50 cents. The manager stepped in to address the situation and diffuse the tension, but the elderly man was already quite upset. His frustration escalated to the point where he began shouting, and the cashier eventually offered a refund.
Can't change the price. You're not! The $5 is on your sign. That's the price of the cookie.
Although the elderly man accepted the refund, he continued to assert that the staff was misleading customers. Perhaps the sign should have displayed $5.50, but throwing a tantrum does not guarantee things will go your way, at least in most cases, as it didn't in this instance. In 2013, the YouTuber user Rainey Schuler posted a video on their YouTube channel. The video comprises footage captured from several security cameras that Rainey had installed around his home, situated in a remote area of the Rocky Mountains. The primary purpose of these cameras was to document the various wildlife inhabiting or passing through his property, with the intention of sharing this content on YouTube. However, on September 13th, their surveillance cameras positioned around Rainey's residence recorded an entirely unexpected and perplexing occurrence. Within the video, a woman emerges from the profound obscurity of the woods. Some speculated that the woman might have been lost or that her car had malfunctioned nearby. However, her casual and seemingly purposeless demeanor as she wandered aimlessly around the property was at odds with this explanation. After a while, the woman is captured on camera returning to the forest. Following that night, the homeowner never encountered this woman again. Residents could do nothing but witness the terror as an almost catastrophic landslide threatened to engulf their entire town. The settlement was situated at the foot of a mountain known for its extensive history of landslides, and it's possible that the entire area could be considered one vast landslide-prone region. If that hypothesis holds true, it's presumed that the lower slope would inherently lack stability. Perhaps, prior to constructing their homes beneath such a perilous mountain, they should have taken this into account. Doing so might have averted this near calamity. Fortunately, in the weeks leading up to the landslide, locals observed cracks forming, which ultimately led to the evacuation of the area just before the mountain gave away. At first glance, it appears as if she's leisurely seated in a lawn chair, engrossed in a good book. However, authorities claim that she deliberately set her own house ablaze and then calmly sat in the chair to witness the inferno unfold. The startling video commences with the woman engaged in a heated argument on her front porch, followed by another confrontation with another resident. The next moment, their shared residence in Elkton, Maryland is engulfed in flames, and the woman accused of arson is found reclining in the lawn chair.
She's sitting there, just chilling, watching the house go up in flames.
The fire rapidly engulfs the house, and bystanders rush to assist the resident who is attempting to escape through a window.
Get out of the house! It's on fire! Hurry!
Firefighters swiftly arrive at the scene, with Avery Hammond capturing the video.
I couldn't believe that she was just sitting there like it wasn't happening.
She casually went out there, sat in a chair, stated a few obscenities, and watched the fire spread throughout the house.
The 47-year-old Gail Met-Wally was subsequently apprehended, with reports suggesting that she grapples with mental health issues. After encountering a traffic jam, the suspect attempted to flee on foot but was unable to get very far. The entire incident was observed from the vantage point of the sky above Los Angeles. It was reported that an individual, purportedly in possession of a stolen silver pickup truck, made an effort to evade capture on the streets, reaching speeds of up to 100 miles per hour at one point. However, Their escape came to a standstill when they found themselves halted at a red traffic light, providing law enforcement with an opportunity to encircle them. Unwilling to give up, the suspect exited the vehicle through the window and attempted to flee on foot. Nevertheless, this pursuit was of brief duration. A sheriff's deputy enclosed the gap and tackled the suspect to the ground, and additional deputies arrived to provide assistance in taking the suspect into custody. On the 13th of February, 2011, a distressing incident unfolded on Mount Pleasant Road when the gentleman sustained severe second and third-degree burns. The unfortunate event transpired while he was diligently working within his garage. The repercussions of this event extended far beyond the initial explosion, resulting in a cascade of emergency response. The incident commenced with a harrowing explosion that had catastrophic consequences. The attached garage was instantly engulfed in flames, and the fire rapidly advanced into the adjoining residences by the time the firefighters arrived on the scene.
Dispatch, go ahead. Inside the garage, I have an accident torch in the driveway.
Recognizing the gravity of the situation, a second alarm was promptly sounded, mobilizing additional resources including tanker trucks and additional manpower to confront the escalating inferno. Brave firefighters worked tirelessly for over an hour, displaying remarkable courage and determination in the battle against the massive blaze. The intense fire presented a formidable challenge, but their unwavering commitment eventually led to the successful containment of the conflagration. During this arduous endeavor, the Providence Canteen also played a crucial role in the operation. Their presence on the scene was indispensable, as they provided much-needed refreshments and sustenance to the exhausted firefighters, ensuring they could maintain their strength and focus throughout this grueling ordeal. A man who had been missing for nearly 3 days was discovered alive, clinging to a McDonald's biscuit. Helicopters from the Knox County Sheriff's Department in Tennessee conducted an aerial search for Taylor Boyle, while his concerned family and friends scoured the ground. According to authorities, Boyle's family had filed a missing persons report, stating that the last contact with him was on October 15th. On that day, Boyle informed a friend that he was getting breakfast at McDonald's before heading over. Friends and family tirelessly searched for him, combing through back roads and descending an embankment estimated to be around 30 to 50 feet from the road. Initially, the search party came across Boyle's motorcycle, and shortly afterwards, they found their missing friend. First responders arrived on the scene to extract Boyle from the embankment and provide medical attention for undisclosed injuries. One of Boyle's friends mentioned the McDonald's biscuit, which he had been carrying in his backpack. Although breakfast was a bit cold and significantly delayed, Boyle is anticipated to make a full recovery. When a pilot takes to the intercom to express regret for the challenging situation, it's certainly disconcerting to gaze out of your window and spot a crane apparently tending to the wings of your aircraft. The pilot of the upcoming flight mentioned that the delay was due to mechanical issues, specifically panels missing from the plane's exterior. Yes, indeed, just a short while ago, the body of your aircraft was not fully intact.
And do sincerely apologize for this absolute mess we're encountering this morning, where they had some panels loose and missing on our airplane outside of the...
The pilot then proceeded to elaborate on the reasons behind the extended delay in addressing these mechanical problems, explaining that they lacked the necessary tools and replacement panels to mend the missing sections of the plane's body. Consequently, they had to obtain approval from the manufacturers to use alternative panels. The pilot, in a rather detailed manner, also informed the bewildered passengers that during the wait for approval, they were provided with a replacement aircraft. However, there's a twist. The substitute aircraft also experienced mechanical complications related to its landing gear, resulting in an even more protracted delay.
However, the airplane, what we didn't know was that the airplane arrived with the mechanical issues as well, and that one was apparently due to the landing gear issues, which obviously is not safe to fly the airplane.
Unfortunately, the video cuts off before the pilot discloses which aircraft they ultimately decided to use. Nonetheless, it's reasonable to assume that the flight reached its destination without any further issues, as one of the passengers managed to upload the video to YouTube. While hospitals from World War II can be quite unsettling, try to imagine the eeriness of exploring a place where no one departs the living realm. a hospital morgue. This is precisely where the YouTuber Exploring with Josh took his viewers in July of 2017. In his video featuring an abandoned California hospital, Josh encounters sharp scalpels, hospital chairs, and a plethora of scattered papers, as if the staff were hastily departed. But why? According to Josh, the hospital ceased its operations because it failed to meet the new earthquake safety regulations, and rather than undertaking renovations, they simply shut it down. One can spot caution tape draping over an examination table. Whether it was left behind by the police or by trespassing youngsters remains uncertain. Graffiti on the wall suggests that this place hasn't been entirely abandoned and seems to be a frequent hangout for bored youth. However, this raises the question of whether it should be explored at all. Notably, a large red box labeled Danger, Biohazard raises concerns about the safety of exploring this hospital. Josh and his crew ventured into a spacious room containing holiday decorations, proceed to the pediatric center, and then decide to search for the morgue. Along the way, they come across a room filled with various hospital equipment, from beds and examination tables to lights and microscopes, all abandoned and left to decay. Even supplies like syringes, still in their original packaging, were left behind. Finally, they reach the morgue, where they find a flatbed, sinks, and an array of autopsy tools. The stainless steel freezers lining the walls are chilling reminders of the original purpose, to house the deceased. Josh curiously tests one of the freezers by stepping inside, inadvertently brushing against the cold metal. His friend remarks, "Now you've got a dead body on you," but at least he's not one of them. The Wookey Hole Caves, situated in the southern fringe of Mendip Hills near Wells in Somerset, England, consist of a series of limestone caverns with a history of human use spanning approximately 45,000 years. Today, they have become a popular tourist destination and serve as a location for aging cheddar cheese. As a tourist attraction, one of its intriguing features is the Witch of Wookey Hole, a stalagmite formation resembling a human figure which, according to legend, was a witch transformed into stone by a monk from Glastonbury. Additionally, the Wookey Hole Caves hold historical significance as the site of the first cave dives in Britain, which were undertaken in the 1930s by Jack Shepherd and Graham Balcombe. Since then, numerous divers have ventured into the extensive network of underwater chambers, though the full extent of the cave system remains undiscovered. Unfortunately, in 1981, a trainee diver tragically lost his life during a dive in the caves after misplacing his mouthpiece in one of the chambers. For a mesmerizing glimpse into the experience of diving within the enclosed cave system of Wookey Hole, you can watch captivating footage provided by Chris Joel. Although we are enthusiastic about scuba diving, it is unlikely you'll find us exploring these depths anytime soon. During the 4 p.m. broadcast of KMBC's Channel 4 News, reporter David Horowitz had an unexpected interruption when an unidentified man walked into the studio. The man entered the frame while holding what appeared to be a weapon and handed David a set of papers. He directed David to read the contents, leaving David with little choice but to comply calmly.
Pardon me?
Yes, please take it.
What is this?
I can't. He's got a gun. Hold on.
Let me see what it says. All right.
He's got a gun to his back.
All right, well, let me read this. Folks, we have someone on the set who's standing here and would like me to read this copy which was just handed to me. You want to tell me your name or not? What is it? And Gary, where are you from?
Subsequently, the video feed was abruptly cut, and a static screen replaced the live broadcast. However, by that time, thousands of viewers had already witnessed the incident, leading to a surge of calls to the police. Inside the studio, the monitors indicated that they were no longer on air, but the reporters attempted to convince the intruder that the broadcast was still ongoing.
I was warned in 1981 by someone with connections at the CIA to stay off the computers, that they didn't trust people on computers. When I began receiving disturbing calls from my parents, which led me to believe that something terrible was going on, I was then forced into a mental hospital in Tallahassee, where I learned that my brother-in-law had been driven insane in the same manner that someone was trying to do.
The man, believing their assertions, allowed David to continue reading the statement. After several minutes, David concluded reading the statement, and the man set down his apparent weapon, revealing it to be an empty BB gun. At this point, the police entered the studio and promptly arrested the intruder, who was identified as Gary Stolman. He had gained access to the studio as a guest of an employee, as his father, Max Stolman, occasionally worked as a reporter for KNBC. The content of the statement that Gary wanted to be read turned out to be a collection of nonsensical claims involving the CIA, extraterrestrial life, and other conspiracy theories. One portion of the statement alleged, "The man who has appeared on KNBC for the past 3 years is not my biological father. He is a clone, a duplicate created by the Central Intelligence Agency and extraterrestrial forces. It is just a small part of a larger conspiracy to overthrow the United States government and potentially the entire human race." Gary was subsequently held in a county jail while awaiting trial, and a determination was made that he was suffering from mental illness. He was arranged to receive the necessary psychiatric assistance. In response to the incident, his father, Max Stolman, issued a statement expressing concern for his son's health, stating, "I do have a son who is unwell. He has been hospitalized on numerous occasions. I am simply grateful that he was not harmed during this incident." This ominous tornado, although not originally from Tornado Alley, emerged from Tonggu Alley in northeast China. It wreaked havoc by overturning vehicles and causing widespread power outages among the country's residents. Remarkably, no fatalities were reported in this instance. However, the distinctive and menacing aspect of this tornado raises questions about how terrifying severe tornadoes in the past must have appeared, especially when videos and photographs were not available to capture them. Deep sleepers were roused from slumber by a vigorous tremor, and school children had the opportunity to practice their earthquake safety drills. We hope the motorcyclist managed to maintain control during the earthquake's onset. Take a look at the street camera footage capturing the violent shaking. In a dimly lit apartment, a cat swiftly sought refuge. Fortunately, none of the bulky furniture toppled over. As for our other feline friend, it seemed stuck in place, likely overwhelmed with fear. The little creature must have experienced significant distress, possibly on par with the fear felt by the children who had to take cover under the desks. Subsequent photos of the aftermath revealed minor disturbances, with a few small items knocked over. Thankfully, the overall damage appears to be relatively minor, and reports suggest only 5 individuals sustained minor injuries. However, we do sympathize with the individual who lost their potted plant. On occasion, it's wiser to keep unsettling discoveries shrouded in mystery, whether this video is a result of skillful editing or an authentically terrifying occurrence. Prepare yourself for a jump scare that defies belief. In this TikTok post, user Austin OGs activated his camera flash and recorded a brief clip featuring what appears to be a locked gate. Although there's not much to discern, it's advisable not to fixate on it for too long. Suddenly, from the depths of the corridor, an entity comes charging towards the camera right before the video abruptly ends. The identity of this entity or the method behind its appearance remains unclear. Perhaps it's preferable to leave securely locked hallways shrouded in enigma. After all, it's often unwise to venture where you might not return unscathed. A YouTube video from 2016 is undeniably alarming. It shows an individual carelessly riding their dirt bike along train tracks. However, what transpires next is truly terrifying. Out of nowhere, a train abruptly appears, hurtling towards the rider. In a state of panic, he hastily abandons his dirt bike, narrowly evading the approaching train. This heart-stopping incident serves as a stark reminder of just how perilously close he came to a potentially catastrophic outcome, leaving a deeply disquieting impression. What actions would you take if you were alone at home and suddenly heard a laugh reminiscent of the Joker's? As per Redditor Pocky Shields, they claim to have recorded such an occurrence, after which they promptly made their way to their car.
I don't know what the that noise is, but it keeps happening.
If you didn't catch it earlier, the unsettling laughter resurfaces towards the end of the video clip.
Ooh, no.
For many, including myself, it's one of the eeriest sounds ever heard. To my ears, it bears a resemblance to the laughter emanating from a sinister child's toy, but a number of comments suggest potential explanations. Whether it's related to owls or not, that laughter is undeniably nightmare-inducing. Is this an instance of a wandering spirit or merely a product of pareidolia? YouTuber Christy D. Abnormal Paranormal entertains the notion that this could be the spirit of a lost girl and shares a video for analysis. Take a close look to see if you can discern her presence. Have you spotted her yet? Here's a helpful clue. This footage was captured outside the window following a friend's funeral. The image does indeed resemble the face of a young girl clad in a white dress. Some of the commenters have reported encountering similar apparitions. The question arises, is this a genuine spectral manifestation, or are our collective perceptions deceiving us? Personally, I am inclined to believe it is indeed a ghostly presence, as the features appear remarkably well defined to me. A state of emergency has been declared in Maine, where a tragic mass shooting occurred last evening, resulting in the loss of at least 20 lives and leaving dozens more injured. The incident unfolded as a known gunman carried out indiscriminate shootings at various locations in the town of Lewiston, including a bowling alley where children were present. The individual of interest in this case has been identified as Robert Card, a 40-year-old with a background in military service and as a firearms instructor. He is also reported to have a history of mental health issues.
If people see him, they should not approach Card or make contact with him in any way.
The devastating mass shootings has sent shockwaves through Lewiston, Maine, the state's second largest city. Law enforcement authorities are actively investigating shootings that occurred in at least 2 different places. Robert Card, the person of interest, was placed under scrutiny given his military background, experience as a firearms instructor, and recent treatment at a mental health facility due to reportedly auditory hallucinations over the summer. The initial call for assistance was made around 7 o'clock, stemming from a bowling alley that was hosting a youth event for a children's bowling league. Witnesses describe hearing gunshots, with one recalling a loud bang before her father, a retired police officer, ushered their family into a corner for safety.
I kind of laid on top of her, and my mom was kind of on top of me.
Riley Dumont, who was at the bowling alley with her 11-year-old daughter, witnessed the chaos and recounted seeing several individuals on the ground. The second shooting scene was at a local restaurant, approximately 4 miles away from the bowling alley. Robert Card remains at large, leading to a shelter-in-place order for Lewiston and the neighboring Lisbon, Maine, where authorities discovered a white Subaru believed to be owned by the suspect, left abandoned with its doors ajar and lights on. An extensive law enforcement effort involving federal, state, and local agencies is actively involved in the search. Police have set up roadblocks as far south as New Hampshire in an effort to contain the potential movement of the suspect. Surveillance images of the gunman at one of the shooting locations were released, and both President Joe Biden and Attorney General Merrick Garland have been briefed on the situation. The White House has pledged full federal support in response to this tragic attack. Lewiston, a relatively small city with a population of 36,000, may work to the advantage of investigators as they continue their effort. Maine Governor Janet Mills issued a statement urging all individuals in the affected area to comply with the directives issued by state and local law enforcement. As a result of the ongoing situation, schools in Lisbon have been canceled. As improbable as it may sound, a second TikTok user has come forward with a startling revelation. She stumbled upon a concealed basement beneath her home. The user, going by the handle Unfortunate Existence, pulled back a carpet on the floor, unveiling a previously undiscovered room within the building. She expressed her shock and emphasized that she had been entirely unaware of its existence.
We have a basement. We have a fucking basement.
Other users, quite understandably horrified, swiftly advised against venturing into the depths below, cautioning that 2021 was not the ideal year to uncover such mysteries, despite their best intentions. The woman ultimately decided to explore the room. Inside, she discovered a peculiar assortment of items, including a milk carton, a bucket, a propane heater, and a wooden chair. The basement appeared to be in an unfinished state, featuring only a single light switch.
Do this because I'm going to move around, but I would rather do it in the light.
However, what made this situation even more perplexing was that the light switch unexpectedly turned on about halfway through the video. This development undoubtedly suggests that there may be something eerie or haunted within this room. In this peculiar video, a patron at Starbucks captures a group of men gathered outside the establishment engaged in an exorcism ritual. 3 individuals are actively involved in performing an exorcism on a 4th man positioned at the center of their assembly.
All your legions of poisons. All your legions of poisons. Out! Go to the head right now. Jesus. Out! All your legions of poisons. All your legions of poisons. Out! Go to the head spirit. In Jesus' mighty name.
The men are engaged in chanting and conversing in Latin, while the individual undergoing the exorcism ritual is repeatedly spinning within a Starbucks cup.
In Jesus Christ's mighty name, by the blood of Jesus Christ, by the blood of Jesus Christ, you have no legal ground to be in here. You have no legal ground to be in here. You have to leave. You can't trespass on the cross. I don't know what you're talking about. You can't trespass on the cross.
The individual recording the video had no expectation of encountering a coffee shop performance when they initially visited the Starbucks location.
Touch it with the love of Jesus. We just touch it with the love of Jesus right now. The love of Jesus to tear out these depression, denial, rejection.
In Burrillville, an early morning house fire has left 4 individuals injured. Our initial report was featured on iNews this morning, and we've been informed that the house has suffered extensive damage. The Pinpoint News Tracker indicates the fire's location on Grove Street in the Pasco neighborhood of the town. Preliminary information suggests that a cigarette may have been the cause of the fire. Flames erupted from the right side of the multi-family residence on Grove Street in Pasco. The emergency call was received just past 4 a.m., prompting mutual assistance from Burrillville, Chepachet, as well as departments from Oxbridge and Douglas, Massachusetts. The Pasco fire chief mentioned that the fire originated in a unit where an elderly woman resides.
She reports smoking in bed with oxygen, and she fell asleep.
Both she and an elderly man were taken to Rhode Island Hospital due to smoke inhalation. Meanwhile, 6 other individuals residing in the building were transported to the police department, and 2 firefighters required medical attention for heat exhaustion. The fire chief explained that the fire rapidly spread from the right side of the building to the left, making it a challenging blaze to combat. Hours later, the building was still smoldering. The fire chief further stated that it won't be possible for anyone to inhabit the building in the foreseeable future. Additionally, it was noted that the state fire marshal was present at the scene, as the fire is still under investigation. As soon as you lay your eyes on the flowers and witness the somber atmosphere as people place them, you instinctively grasp that a tragedy has transpired in this place. This particular location is the site of the Astroworld Music Festival, hosted by rapper Travis Scott, an area that should ideally be celebrated for the joy that music typically brings. Regrettably, it has become a symbol of one of the most disturbing incidents ever recorded at a concert. Observe closely while Travis is performing on stage, and you'll witness a harrowing scene. A throng of fans makes a frantic surge towards the stage, imploring, pushing, pulling, and even dragging in their efforts. A segment of the footage showcases first responders attending to the injured. All the while, Travis, seemingly perturbed, continues his performance. At some point, he appears to have sensed that something was amiss, prompting him to halt and request security's intervention on the arena's side where the stampede had occurred.
Anytime I can make out, anything that's going on, I stop the show and, help them get the help they need.
This rush towards the stage resulted in people being trampled and crushed, an immensely distressing situation in a crowd of this magnitude. Law enforcement suspects that those responsible for instigating this chaos may have been under the influence of drugs. The video footage suggests that one of their officers was struck with a needle and injected with a substance that rendered him unconscious.
He felt a prick in his neck. When he was examined, he went unconscious. They administered Narcan. He was revived.
This location is among the most notorious haunted sites in the United Kingdom, with reports of a malevolent entity known as the Black Monk residing here. The KJ Hauntings team on YouTube undertakes an overnight stay, during which they encounter disturbing activity associated with the Black Monk. At one point, they distinctively hear what appears to be the sound of someone or something crying. This cry follows a previous noise that, to my ears, also resembles a cry. These eerie sounds, however, are not the only unsettling experiences they endure. They also encounter disconcerting noises like the following instances, characterized by abrupt bangs and thuds. Giving the distressing cries and unusual noises, it seems that something sinister may be unfolding in this place. If they do not leave soon, they could be the next victims of this ominous presence. Their village, consisting of approximately 300 residents, was inhabited by resilient Russian farmers who weren't easily intimidated by a mere gust of wind, correct? They believed they could handle even a powerful force. However, the rain blew sideways, severely limiting visibility to objects directly in front of their faces. Employing some quick Google tools, they attempted to decipher the text in the top of the left corner, which seemed to either warn against carelessness or advise caution regarding foul language. Given the circumstances, they were inclined to believe it was the latter. Observe how the wind effortlessly propels these silos across the farm as if they were weightless. The entire property appears to be sliding down a steep hill, and considering that this farmer's entire estate vanished in less than 20 seconds, one can only imagine the profanity-laden reaction that must have ensued. On the 31st of March, 2021, two individuals wearing black hoodies were observed strolling down 37th Avenue in Queens. Although these men appear menacing, nobody could have anticipated the chaos they would unleash within a matter of minutes. Trailing the shooters were two other men, seemingly their accomplices, riding what could be described as escape pod scooters. Behind the camera's frame, three men were loitering further up the street. All three of them were affiliated with the Red Trinitarios gang, the intended targets of this incident. Subsequently, the situation escalated as gunshots were exchanged. Several stores away from where the Trinitarios were gathered, a party was in progress. It was here that the situation spiraled beyond the shooters' calculated plans, leading to innocent bystanders being struck by bullets, simply due to their unfortunate presence in the wrong place at the wrong time. In total, 10 individuals were wounded that night, but fortunately, none of the gunshot injuries were deemed life-threatening. On December 1st, 2017, an individual named Brendan Clark arrived at Bakersfield Heart Hospital with intentions to carry out an attack. Armed, he gained access to the hospital's rear entrance, immediately triggering an alarm that sent everyone inside into a state of panic. Law enforcement eventually apprehended Clark, and thankfully, no injuries were sustained during the incident. What remains enigmatic about the situation is the motive behind Clark's actions. While he was connected to a hospital employee, authorities do not believe that the person was the intended target. Based on his behavior in the video, it is evident that he appeared to be in a highly disturbed state of mind. This incident seems destined to remain an unsolved mystery for the foreseeable future. Evident that a colossal boulder was propelled into the air, ultimately colliding with and damaging the overhead transmission tower. Fortunately, there were no injuries resulting from this botched detonation. A representative from the railroad made a statement assuring that additional safety measures would be implemented in the future. In essence, this corporate rhetoric acknowledges the mistakes with a nod to the fact that they mishandled the situation. On February 19, 1983, Joanne Penderson, a 10-year-old, was spending an evening at a local mall in the company of her 12-year-old sister and 14-year-old cousin. With her parents away for the night, The three girls were responsible for making the short journey home on their own. However, during the walk, an argument erupted between Joanne and her sister. As a sort of juvenile prank, her sister and cousin sprinted ahead and locked Joanne out of the house. Despite the cold and rainy weather, distressed and in tears, Joanne pounded on the door for some time before eventually giving up. She decided to walk back into town in search of a payphone to call her parents. Joanne began walking and eventually discovered a payphone situated near a convenience store. She called her stepfather, who promptly answered, and she explained the situation, recounting the dispute with her sister and her need to be picked up. Her stepfather assured her they would come get her as soon as possible and passed the phone to her mother to calm her down. However, when Joanne's mother held the phone to her ear, all she heard was scratching and rustling, followed by a man's voice. The man informed her that if they didn't retrieve their daughter within 30 minutes, he would contact the police. Joanne's parents arrived at the payphone approximately 15 to 20 minutes later, but Joanne was nowhere to be found. They promptly alerted the authorities, who initiated a search almost immediately. Every individual who had entered the convenience store that night was interviewed. Some reported seeing a man and a child driving away in a car right past the store, while others claimed to have witnessed the man speaking on the payphone with Joanne, even providing a description of his appearance. Nevertheless, the identity of this man remains undisclosed, and it remains uncertain whether he played any role in Joanne's disappearance, as none of the witnesses actually saw Joanne being taken. Since that night, Joanne has not been seen, and the call she made stands as the last communication her parents or anyone else ever had from her. In this video, we witness a woman encountering a black bear. Initially, she uses bear spray to send a warning to the bear, which appears to understand the message.
That's what I'm gonna do to you.
However, the bear's behavior takes an unexpected turn as it heads straight for the woman's sea kayak. Her growing panic becomes evident through her voice, and she even resorts to yelling at the bear in an act of desperation.
Get away from that kayak! Come here! Come on! Stop it, bear! Stop it!
Despite her efforts, the bear pays no heed to her and begins to dismantle her kayak. The woman is clearly distressed by the bear's actions, and her continued pleas for help to stop fall on deaf ears.
Why are you breaking my kayak? Why are you breaking my kayak? What am I gonna do? Why are you breaking my kayak? It's not even food. It doesn't even taste good. It's just plastic. Bear, please.
Regrettably, the video ends on a suspenseful note, leaving us uncertain about whether the bear eventually relents. Attempting to access a deep cave in Edwards County, Texas through its narrowest entrance without any professional gear may not be the wisest choice. However, this group of friends decided to do exactly that, with some even trying to go headfirst into the tiny aperture. This video gained widespread attention more than a decade ago. As you watch it, envision the challenges of squeezing into such a confined space and the prospect of becoming trapped inside, overwhelmed by panic and unable to escape.
Shoulders are getting through. There he goes. Dude, head first. Holy cow.
That ass is gonna be tough because everybody else goes through the other way.
Shove that in there.
So your ass is in the...
Whether this adventure was an act of recklessness or courage is a matter for your judgment. In Mexico, there exists a place known as the Island of the Dolls, where tourists uphold a unique tradition of depositing dolls. The origin of this practice traces back to a hermit who once resided on the island. The hermit stumbled upon the lifeless body of a young girl who clutched a doll. As a sign of reverence, he hung the doll on a tree, thus initiating this custom. Over time, the island has become a repository for countless dolls, with the Ghost Adventures team embarking on an investigative mission there. Venturing inside an aged shack, they found themselves surrounded by thousands of porcelain and plastic figurines that appeared to gaze back at them. A palpable tension hung in the air when, suddenly, something extraordinary occurred.
Bro, come here! Oh my god. Oh my god.
A doll within the shack began to laugh, leaving the investigators astounded. They hastily retreated without further exploration. It is conceivable that this incident might have a post-production sound effect. However, if it transpired spontaneously, it raises the unsettling possibility of an entire island filled with possessed dolls, silently watching and waiting. In an incident that occurred in Wales in 2020, a 77-year-old man narrowly escaped becoming a target of mugging by bravely defending himself against a masked assailant. In a surprising turn of events, the elderly gentleman even appeared to challenge his would-be attacker with a gesture that seemed to say, "Come at me." However, the would-be criminal decided not to wait around for the confrontation he had initiated and quickly fled the scene. As the small plane's propeller came to an abrupt halt, the situation necessitated an emergency landing. The man recording the incident calmly stated, "We're currently facing engine failure," and expressed optimism, saying, "We should be fine if we find a suitable place to land." Despite the frozen propeller in mid-air, he maintained his composure. The sky over the hilly terrain appeared overcast and strong winds buffeted the aircraft. He urged the pilot to locate a flat area for landing to facilitate the arrival of rescue vehicles, emphasizing, "It all depends on your experience now." Eventually, they identified a spot on the water for a forced landing, and once more, he stressed the pivotal role of the captain. The plane descended rapidly and made contact with the ground with a thud, even striking a rock, but miraculously, both occupants survived. Upon their relatively calm landing, the man recorded the incident expressed his gratitude to the captain for saving their lives. The captain mentioned that he had previously warned someone about the aircraft's readiness for the flight. Shared on TikTok by the user MossGirl71, this video clip features a segment from security camera footage captured in a liquor store where the poster's daughter-in-law is employed. Observe the intriguing occurrence in the video. It appears that a wine bottle is toppled over seemingly by an imperceptible force. Another camera angle replays the incident, seemingly confirming that there was no human manipulation of the bottles involved. This leads to a perplexing question. What accounts for this unexplained movement? Is it possible that a paranormal force is at play? Or could there be an alternate explanation for the phenomenon captured in the video? I invite you to share your thoughts and insights in the comment section below. Encountering apparitions and shadows can be a terrifying experience, but sometimes what remains hidden from view can be even more unsettling. For instance, the inexplicable movement of a stretcher along a haunted hospital corridor in Rosario, Argentina, at night is deeply unnerving. When the hospital staff discovered this eerie occurrence, it left them bewildered. Security cameras meticulously documented the incident, making it accessible to a global audience as it quickly became a viral sensation. In the video, the stretcher is initially observed rolling back and forth, but its movement accelerates, eventually propelling it off the courtyard floor and into a grassy area. Is this the result of natural forces, perhaps the wind? The fact that the plants in the video remain motionless contradicts this notion. Interpretations of the video's meanings diverge, with some considering it as evidence of paranormal activity, while others suggest it could be an indication of the hospital staff having too much free time on their hands. While using the restroom at a Starbucks, an observant employee made a startling discovery. A phone charger plugged into the wall turned out to be a hidden pinhole camera camouflaged as a charger. She promptly shared this find with her coworkers, and together, the baristas decided to contact the police.
Hi, I'm calling from Starbucks. I work here, and I was recently in the bathroom, and I noticed a recording device plugged into the wall.
Law enforcement authorities reviewed the Starbucks security footage, which indicated that the camera's owner might have been a man who had exhibited suspicious behavior around the bathroom area before making a purchase and leaving. The police disseminated images of the individual to the public, leading to the man eventually turning himself in, claiming his innocence.
I mean, I can't admit that I did that.
During the police interrogation, they managed to obtain a search warrant, and officers subsequently visited the man's residence to investigate if any additional covert recording devices were present. In the process of searching through the man's refuse, they uncovered a multitude of other hidden recording devices. Consequently, the man was apprehended for his illicit activities. This incident serves as a reminder to exercise vigilance when using a Starbucks restroom to ensure that your privacy is not compromised. While the presence of worms has been ruled out, it doesn't necessarily mean that the issue isn't caused by something else. An incident unfolded in a Subway restaurant after hours, where concerned onlookers captured a video of a rat scurrying across the floor. The initial sight was repugnant, but the situation took a turn for the worse as the person recording continued. It remains unclear whether it was just the two rats or if there might have been additional rodents within the establishment. It's evident that this location is either exceptionally unsanitary or has some opening that the rats are using to gain entry. In any case, it's advisable to exercise caution and reconsider purchasing any size of sandwich, be it half or foot long, from this particular Subway in downtown Boston. While the sandwiches may be affordable, the true cost, it seems, is far greater. Don't you think? Evan Thompson shared this video on Facebook where he was behind the wheel while his friends documented the unusual encounter. Thompson spotted something on the roadside and decided to turn around, prompting his friend to begin recording. On the background, the distinct sound of a bulb horn is audible.
Hey, Daniel, get your phone out. Get your phone out, dog. All right, ready? Are you ready? Hey, I don't know what I just saw, but... What the f*** is this, dog? What is this?
Under the illumination of a streetlight, they cautiously drove past the clown, who returned their gaze. Both Thompson and his friend were taken aback by the bizarre sight. To their astonishment, the clown then initiated a pursuit of their vehicle, and the video suddenly concludes.
Dude, is that a clown? What the What the What the
On a bright, cloudless day, a YouTuber known as the Hovermatic takes to the skies with his drone. As he ascends, he pivots his drone and is met with an alarming sight. His neighbor's residence is engulfed in raging flames. The thick black smoke billows into the atmosphere, and in swift response, the firefighters rush down the road to tackle the blaze with all their might. While surveying the scene from this aerial perspective, what immediately catches my eye is the outdoor playsets adorned with slides and swings, indicating that this is a household with children. A violent armed robbery occurring at a laundromat is far from the usual expectations. However, in the current climate, such incidents may not come as a shock. Pay close attention to the individual positioned near the door, for he appears rather suspicious. The next time he enters the frame of the video, he brandishes a gleaming silver handgun, pointing it directly at their laundromat employee. According to reports, his actions were not limited to displaying the firearm. He also forcefully shoved her before making off with approximately $500 in cash. Despite the surveillance camera capturing a clear image of his face, law enforcement authorities have yet to apprehend him. Mark Andre dedicated his career to the exploration of the vast Northern California wilderness. Serving as the environmental service director in his town, his job necessitated spending considerable time in the woods. In February of 2018, he was assigned the task of marking trees. Deep in the woods, he stumbled upon a makeshift cabin, an incredibly abnormal discovery given the extreme remoteness of the area. Curiosity led Mark to inspect the structure more closely. The cabin measured only about 8 by 12 feet and stood 15 feet tall, with a lock securing its sole entrance. From the exterior, there was no apparent sign of recent habitation. Troubled by the finding, Mark sought professional assistance. Over the next few days, numerous attempts were made to contact the owner of the cabin, but all proved unsuccessful. Consequently, on revisiting the structure, the decision was made to break the lock on the front door. Inside, they found a space that appeared to be occupied, or, at the very least, had been lived in recently. The shack was furnished with its own furniture, a pot-bellied stove, a small library, and even a typewriter. Shelves were stocked with jars and cans of food. However, despite their search, the true owner remained unidentified due to the illegal nature of the cabin's construction. With no other recourse, the men left an eviction notice on the front door before departing. Several days later, authorities returned to enforce the notice, only to find that the makeshift cabin had vanished entirely. All that remained was an international squatter symbol etched in charcoal. Many speculate that the owner may have been evading authorities, choosing to live in complete isolation within the forest, avoiding any contact with others. However, the accuracy of this theory remains a subject of debate. To this day, the true identity of the cabin's owner remains a mystery. In southern Africa, a tranquil canoeing expedition involving a group of men took a distressing turn when what appeared to be an ordinary encounter with a crocodile escalated into a perilous ordeal. As they paddled along the narrow river, the person recording the scene leaped in fright as he noticed a massive crocodile emerging from the water at some distance.
Right there, big, huge.
He quickly zoomed in on the creature to capture its enormous size just before it abruptly vanished back into the murky depths.
It's coming around, it's coming around. It's coming this way.
Regrettably, the recording abruptly cuts off at this point, leaving the subsequent events shrouded in uncertainty. Similar to the grocery store, numerous other buildings in the vicinity sustained damage, with some being completely demolished as a result of the earthquake. This video clip may already be familiar to you as it went viral on social media, accumulating over 3 million views on TikTok. An impactful explosion took place at a gas supply station in the Samarkand region of Uzbekistan. This incident occurred as a result of a breach in safety protocols during the transfer of fuel from a gas tanker to the reserve tank, which had previously caused a similar incident. Weather Service, a microburst is a localized descent of air or a downward draft within a thunderstorm. These events can reach wind speeds of up to 100 miles per hour, equivalent to an EF1 tornado. Encountering an old gravesite can be an incredibly eerie experience, as TikToker Sky Rascals discovered firsthand. Their exploration of this ancient cave system unveiled some spine-chilling, clearly man-made structures, including a geological mausoleum expertly carved into the side of a cliff. As they navigate through the cave, the presence of stone beams supporting the cave structure becomes evident. Venturing into ancient caves is never safe, but there is something particularly fascinating about this one. Its design appears reminiscent of scenes plucked from a science fiction movie set on a distant, otherworldly planet, akin to those found in Star Wars. To enhance the ambiance and explore the eerie cavings further, they choose to light some candles, effectively intensifying the overall sense of haunting.
How creepy is that? Ben's lighting us on the candles now so we can explore properly. It seems like we should be doing a seance in here.
Just envision stumbling upon something as unsettling as this, particularly with the candles left behind. Such an encounter would undoubtedly evoke an advanced level of disquiet. The following video was captured by a security guard who was monitoring the factory security cameras. Something truly peculiar drew his attention. Within the factory, there was a lone welder working, but there was something about this presence that struck the security guard as odd. Upon scrutinizing the footage more closely, he began to feel a growing sense of unease as he observed the unfolding events. Feeling perturbed, the security guard summoned the welder to view the video and clarify the perplexing situation. However, much like the security guard, the welder was left utterly baffled. He had no explanation for what had been recorded on the video. What makes this incident even more disconcerting is the fact that it transpired during the night shift when the factory was devoid of any other personnel, save for the welder. According to the welder, another colleague who had the day off came to visit him, and they engaged in conversation for a while. It was after this interaction that the security guard called the welder over to examine the footage. Yet, upon reviewing the recording, the welder was left dumbfounded. The video revealed that the other worker who had come to say hello was not actually present. The welder on the footage claimed to have seen this worker in full uniform, as if he were prepared to work, and even recalled shaking hands with him. Nevertheless, the video displayed no evidence of the colleague's presence. As perplexing as this revelation was, the narrative takes an even more unusual twist when they received news that the worker who had supposedly taken the day off had tragically passed away in his own home. The cause of death remained a mystery. The fact that this worker's demise coincided with the day of the video incident left the welder deeply unsettled. Is it possible that the spirit of the deceased worker paid a visit to his friend during the shift? Or is there an alternative explanation for this perplexing sequence of events? Like many such occurrences, this question remains unanswered. Upon viewing this video, it becomes challenging to dismiss the existence of Sasquatch. TikToker The Luke Pilgrim shares this unsettling footage of what is conventionally regarded as one of these legendary creatures, all captured on camera. Keep your gaze fixed on the tree line in the forest.
Let's get inside, buddy.
Some viewers are contending that this is perhaps the most compelling Sasquatch footage they've ever come across. A few individuals assert to have had their own Sasquatch encounters. Nevertheless, there are those who point out a key detail about the TikToker. According to their bio, the Luke Pilgrim is a Georgia-based filmmaker and visual effects artist who specializes in crafting science fiction short films. Armed with this insight, all that I can say is impressive work. A YouTuber by the name of Seafields33 was recording a severe storm in Gray, Tennessee when the winds began to intensify rapidly.
Whoa.
In less than 30 seconds, the winds reached a deafening crescendo, and then an alarming sight unfolded before his eyes. A tornado materialized in his front yard and swiftly maneuvered its way between his house and his neighbors. The probability of the tornado threading between the houses instead of causing direct damage to them is exceedingly slim. According to the video description, the tornado uprooted 3 trees and overturned an RV. Both Seafields33 and his neighbors should consider themselves exceptionally fortunate under the circumstances. Evidently, the tornado possessed enough strength to potentially sweep the YouTuber away, making it a stroke of luck that he managed to seek refuge inside his house in the nick of time. Dealing with individuals exhibiting Karen-like behavior can be challenging even under favorable circumstances, and the situation can become even more unsettling when you're confined in a limited space. In this particular instance, a Karen took it upon herself to follow these women with the intention of compelling them to reveal their place of residence.
You need to just go back home then. I want to find out what floor you're on. It's creepy.
They declined to comply, asserting that it was not her concern, but she remained unyielding in her pursuit.
It's just weird. It's just unnecessary. It might be weird to you. It's just unnecessary entirely.
Her conduct took a turn for the worse, descending into a state of uncontrolled behavior, all the while maintaining a composed demeanor and not physically obstructing them.
He says I can't stay in the elevator.
Nevertheless, her persistent and intrusive presence posed a genuine threat. Confronted with this situation, one might wonder what course of action they would have chosen. Would they have exited the elevator to avoid the Karen's unwelcome attention, or would they have chosen to remain and stand in solidarity with the two women?
Are you gonna go? No, obviously not, because we kind of just want to go home. Okay, let's go home.
Amber shared this video on Reddit with a curiosity to decipher the enigmatic footage she captured. The video, recorded in her kitchen a few years ago, presents a rather peculiar occurrence. The camera experienced a momentary glitch as a mist-like form traversed the room, hinting at potential interference. Amber speculates that it appears as if the mist interacts with an eagle feather on the table and then progresses toward the sage hanging by the door, both of which hold spiritual significance. As it nears the door, her dog abruptly awakens and her cat makes a swift exit. Amber Amber's personal history is marked by vivid experiences with the metaphysical. In her childhood, she had what some might classify as an imaginary friend, but she genuinely believed it to be a ghost. Although her recollection of these interactions has faded, her family frequently recalls her engagement with this entity. She also recalls encounters with the Hat Man and iridescent humanoids. Amber further claims to have prophetic dreams and asserts that she has been visited by spirits, leading her to explore practices like tarot reading and other spiritual disciplines. Fascinatingly, her residence is situated in close proximity to a cemetery, and a psychic once alluded to the presence of a portal within her home. The question that remains is the nature of this mysterious mist-like form. Could it have a paranormal explanation? Or is there some other factor at play here? Take another look at the clip and share your thoughts in the comments below. This video was filmed on December 8, 2004 at the Al Rosa Villa nightclub in Columbus, Ohio. The renowned heavy metal band Damageplan had already taken the stage, and their powerful music resonated through the venue, captivating the enthusiastic crowd. Dimebag Darrell, an iconic American guitarist and the band's founder, was commanding the stage, holding the audience spellbound with his musical prowess. As the audience was immersed in the magic of the performance, an unsettling moment unfolded when an ominous figure entered the arena. Clad in a black hoodie, the intruder headed straight for the stage, brandishing a firearm without missing a beat. This individual was identified as Nathan Gale, and his first gunshot was aimed directly at Dimebag Darrell. A voice from the stage urgently called out, "Someone call 911! Call 911, somebody!" The distress in the voice was palpable. It became evident that Nathan had indeed targeted Dimebag as the voice pleaded once more, now with heightened agitation. Chaos quickly gripped the nightclub, but amid the turmoil, a police officer entered the scene. Officer James Nigemeyer emerged as the hero who brought an end to the mayhem, working swiftly to minimize casualties. Nathan Gale seemed determined to sow further chaos, but Officer Nigemeyer's intervention thwarted his intentions, ultimately leading to the resolution of the tragic situation. Mother Cat springs into action. On Wednesday, April 14th, a brave mama cat successfully drove away a pack of dogs that had trapped her kitten, as reported by Reuters. This heroic incident was captured on surveillance footage at a market in Adana, Turkey. Is this the genuine article? Shared by the YouTube channel Cold TV, this eerie image has gained popularity within the Vietnamese-speaking YouTube community. The image features a ghostly-looking girl with an exaggerated smile and protruding eyes. Positioned behind a railing, she gives the impression of stalking the observer, and, remarkably, her eyes seem to follow your movements. The image's origin remains shrouded in mystery, and no associated video can be located. Have you encountered this visage before? If so, please share any pertinent information in the comments, as I'm determined to unravel this enigma. Until then, it might be wise for us all to begin preparing for a potential zombie apocalypse. Surveillance footage depicts a 32-year-old woman as she opened her front door on the evening of August 10th around 9 p.m. According to the police, at that moment, a man approached from behind, brandishing a firearm and instructing her not to make any noise, but to simply unlock the door. Teddy, a neighbor, initially didn't recognize that he was witnessing a criminal act, but soon realized that something was amiss.
It is scary, you know. It's very, very scary. I couldn't see faces or anything. I thought it was maybe a friend.
Investigators revealed that two individuals wearing hoods forcibly entered the woman's residence located near 429th Street and 147th Avenue. They struck her across the face and bound her hands and feet. The suspects proceeded to break open a safe, making off with $19,000 in cash, $12,000 worth of jewelry, and the victim's cell phone before making their escape.
Then I heard a sound. When I looked, I saw a white Highlander pulled up to the gates. One of the guys was coming this direction, and the other one run towards it and called to him, and they went back inside and they drove off.
The woman managed to free herself from her restraints and fled the scene, observing the suspects departing in a white Toyota SUV, as confirmed by the police. The first suspect was described as approximately 6 feet tall, sporting dark glasses, a mask, and a hoodie with a white NYC logo. The second suspect is also around 6 feet tall and was dressed entirely in dark clothing. While law enforcement currently does not believe there was any prior connection between the suspects and the victim, they are continuing to investigate the possibility of a targeted attack. Fortunately, the woman sustained minor injuries and did not require hospitalization and is expected to recover fully. Children can sometimes unknowingly find themselves in perilous situations. In this instance, a young child was innocently running his hand along the elevator door, not realizing it was in the process of opening. Unfortunately, this mother failed to notice the door's movement, and as a result, the child's hand became trapped within the elevator's mechanism. The mother immediately sprang into action, attempting to free her child's hand from the door, but her efforts proved futile. Just moments before a potential catastrophe, the child's predicament drew the attention of onlookers who swiftly came to the rescue. While the child likely emerged from the situation physically unharmed, the incident must have been a terrifying experience for both the child and his mother, as they narrowly avoided a serious mishap. In this scenario, a U.S. Army Forward observer stationed at his observation post identifies Taliban forces positioned on a nearby ridge. In response, he initiates an offensive by using 60mm mortars to suppress the enemy. Simultaneously, he calls in an airstrike, specifically a 500-pound JDAM, to eliminate the target. Unfortunately, due to a miscommunication during the target's designation process, the bomb was mistakenly dropped on a U.S. position rather than the intended enemy location. Fortunately, the soldiers had received instructions to regroup and consolidate, as a building that had previously housed U.S. troops was destroyed in the unintended strike. Thanks to this directive, the soldiers avoided potential casualties that could have occurred had they not repositioned following the misplaced bomb strike.
There we go. There it is. Yeah. What the holy dude. God damn. Holy holy shit, bro. Oh my God. Y'all good? Let's go, get back in. What the man? Holy dude, fucking Joe Bay got exploded, bro. Right here. Right in here. It hit right in front of the fucking Joe.
Roger, they hit right down by the piss tube. Bring him down. Hey, see if you can get these guys down to the bay. Get these guys, hey, push down, push down. Roger.
Been done for.
Roger, go ahead and get down. We'll start doing Mason things.
Here, come on, brother.
Oh! Oh! What?
Dude.
On Wednesday, October 4th, 2023, the Indian River County Sheriff's Office received a notification from the Jupiter Police Department regarding a stabbing incident that had occurred within their jurisdiction. The suspect in this case was identified as a 28-year-old man named Nicholas David Parchesko, who was last seen fleeing northbound on I-95 at high speeds. In response to this information, deputies promptly headed to the southern county boundary and awaited the suspect's vehicle. The Real-Time Crime Center utilized license plate recognition (LPR) cameras in the area to track the vehicle's location and share live updates on its whereabouts and direction of travel. Deputies in the vicinity and the Highway Apprehension Workgroup (HAWK) received this real-time information, which enabled them to quickly identify the vehicle as it entered the county. Francesco made reckless attempts to evade law enforcement, but was eventually successfully slowed down and apprehended through the use of various measures. He was taken into custody and is now facing multiple charges, including attempted murder. It is worth noting that no injuries were reported during the pursuit and subsequent arrest. Francesco was subsequently booked into the Indian River County Jail, where he was assigned a $100,000 bond for charges related to fleeing and eluding law enforcement. At this time, there is no available information concerning the doctor who was subjected to the stabbing, including their identity or current condition. On March 6, 2022, the quiet Iowa community of Norwalk experienced an unexpected and violent tornado that wreaked havoc on several structures in and around the town. The extraordinary event was captured by security cameras positioned at the Norwalk Public Works building, as winds reaching speeds of up to 170 miles per hour posed a significant threat to its structural integrity. This EF4 tornado weakened to an EF3 strength just before it reached Norwalk, which was fortunate as it likely spared the cameras from destruction. Thankfully, there were no reported casualties or injuries within Norwalk itself. However, tragically, the tornado claimed the lives of 6 individuals along its path, making it the most financially damaging tornadoes in the United States for the year 2022. Sheriff David Davis is here to clarify the situation. A 20-year-old man named Hakeem Barrett escaped from Atrium Health Navicent Hospital on a Friday, where he had been receiving treatment for a medical issue. Barrett managed to slip away by crawling through the bathroom ceiling, and he was located 2 days later at his sister's residence. Upon spotting him at her doorstep, his sister promptly dialed 911. However, the story takes a tragic turn. Barrett is believed to have succumbed to diabetes and hypothermia. Dr. Gerald Terrera, a pulmonologist and critical care specialist in Macon, explains that while these two conditions are not directly related, they collectively made him more susceptible to the elements.
Hypothermia is a critical care condition that needs critical care management skills.
Hypothermia occurs when the body loses heat faster than it can generate, whereas diabetes disrupts the body's ability to regulate sugar. Dr. Terera emphasizes that with proper diabetic care at the hospital, Barrett might have had a fighting chance.
Diabetics who do not receive their medication end up in what's called a hyperosmolar state. This is a state where, because you have not been getting your insulin, your blood sugars raised to very high levels.
I'm standing in Tetnall Square Park. It's about 55 degrees and it's a nice sunny day. Dr. Terera says that at night it can get pretty cold and it's important to wear a coat because usually it gets about the low 30s.
Dr. Terera notes that during the nighttime, temperatures can plummet, reaching as low as the 30s. As a result, it is crucial to wear warm clothing, such as a coat, to stay comfortable and safe. Concord police shared a video of an incident that occurred on November 28, which was posted on the department's Facebook page on Friday. This incident took place at the Texaco gas station and Rain and Shine car wash located at 4595 Clayton Road. The surveillance footage captures a woman with her face concealed and wearing a hooded sweatshirt, brandishing a knife and intimidating the clerk. The store employee complied by opening the cash register, and the woman proceeded to take the money from the till.
Okay. All right. Okay. Miranda, okay. There you go. All right.
All of it. Where else is it?
That's it.
Where else?
Subsequently, after emptying the cash register, the assailant demanded more money, repeatedly instructing the clerk, Mr. Gohardy, to unlock the safe.
That's it. That's it.
Open the safe.
I can't do it.
Open the safe.
Look at the leader.
A black bandana concealing her face and latex gloves on her hands. The story behind this brief video clip surpasses many expectations I had. It represents the final recorded footage of Sandra Birchmore, who was found dead 4 days later. Sandra Birchmore, at the age of 23, was in her 3rd month of pregnancy when the man shown in the video visited her. The individual in the video is identified as Matthew Farrell, an officer from Stoughton, with whom Sandra had a personal involvement. She met Farrell when she was only 13 years old while participating in the Stoughton Police Explorers program. When she was only 15 years old, she began a sexual relationship with Mr. Farrell and 2 other men, Mr. Farrell's twin brother, Officer William Farrell, and the former Deputy Police Chief Robert Devine. On the evening captured in this video, Farrell appeared to have arrived to possibly end his relationship with Sandra, leading to a heated argument between the two. He can be observed leaving just 20 minutes later. There are also allegations that Sandra was carrying Matthew's child. These officers subjected Sandra to a decade of exploitation and mistreatment before ultimately discarding her as if her well-being held no significance. Tragically, only 4 days after this video was recorded, she took her own life. In response to these distressing events, Sandra's parents have initiated a civil lawsuit against these 3 individuals, and as of now, none of them have faced any criminal charges. Thanks for watching. Stay vigilant, friends.